compliment of this season. I'm excited about this season. Welcome to another corner of redefining standard and challenging status quo. We elevate our consciousness to a higher degree that will enhance our life and bring us a life of authenticity. I know when people want to say they live a life of authenticity, it's quite difficult to really measure it until you discover yourself, own yourself, and choose. The liberty, the freedom to live you, to do you. So to live authentically, to live powerfully, to live meaningfully, to live purposefully, to live compassionately, and to live lovingly. So we'll continue to awaken your consciousness to a higher degree of perspective where you find the liberty, the freedom to find fulfillment and satisfaction and contentment, and find joy, and find that level of life of satisfaction. And somebody says, is it attainable? It's attainable. And I always say that it is important that we realize that when we live life from a fixed idea, we should change ourselves and devalue our potency to exponentially experience life from different dimensions. And that's why we come in here to bring certain ideologies for you to broaden your ideas so that they can have not just a fixed patterned idea, but more open, more flexible to connect to the infinite warehouse of knowledge. In the universal hub, there's a universal knowledge, hub of knowledge, where if you key in, then you will be exposed to dimension that's beyond your comprehension. So thank you again for your beautiful, we are co-creating together. We want to see that we live a more flexible life that is not a life of discouragement, a life of dissatisfaction. I know in the space I occupied, a lot will say, what is life all about? There's too much suffering, but I tell you there's no suffering. There's just an ideology and the lens with which you perceive life. People say, things are difficult. Yeah, I agree with you, but depending on the lens with which you have put on, that will define you. So we are continuing our lens life. I'm excited about this lens life because it's broadening my entire life and my experiences. It's expanding to such an infinite measure. I'm drawing from the well of possibility, from the divine pause, because what I've done is to pause and be able to reevaluate my lens. It's like almost going to the eye doctors and begin to check, to revalidate, to ensure that you have the correct lenses as well. So in life, we say that you need to have the correct lens so that you will be able to enjoy, find fulfillment, find satisfaction, live in purpose, live in contentment, live in compassionately, and all that. And so we'll continue. We're open for you to give us question, to bring in new idea to support what we do and all that. If I were you, I'll call my friend, I will share this link so that people can come in the cool of evening. Let us reason together. Let's make some adjustment. Let's come into transformation. Let's come into higher awakening so that we will find a reason for this season. I'm excited about the atmosphere is changing. It's one of that period where people get depressed so much, where people are heightened. A lot happened at this point, as if sometimes people are going to extinction. Expectations are high, prices are hiked. There's a lot in the air, excitement, depression, disappointment. And it's also a time when people do deeper reflection because it's been a year. So they want to do deeper reflection. They dive into the inner world. For those who understand spiritual work, how they dive in and don't look at life from one side of superficiality or from a superficial point of view from the material world, but they want to be able to also look at the emotional world. They want to be able to look at their mental world. They want to be able to look at their spiritual world. They want to be able to look at their psychological world. So they do a comprehensive overview or review so that they can recalibrate and do some assessment and find out ways to amend, where to transform, where to change, where to evolve, so that you can have a more profound view about life, and so that you can extend the richness or tap into the richness of what the life offers. So in continuation of our Lens Life, we want to deep into some dimension that will help us find new life experience. I aspire that my old experience will not be better than my new experiences, because I believe that the day of a righteous man, shine brighter and brighter unto a perfect day. I believe that my best days are not behind, but they are in front. And so I ask, deeper knowledge, deeper insight and wisdom that will help or activate my forwardness, so that I could have a richer future. And though I'm not postponing it, I'm enjoying the future now, whatever it is as well. So one of the critical points is your lens is a creative agent. Your lens is a creative agent. Your lens is a creative agent. Your creative life starts from your lens life. And for you to recreate or whatever you're creating, the fundamental foundation of your creation is in your lens life. It is important that you understand that your lens life determines your reality. It is so powerful when you begin to understand this dimension and you pay attention to your lens life. The catalyst of all your improvement, transformation, advancement, attainment, achievement, satisfaction, non-satisfaction, disappointment, non-disappointment, the root of all these is in your lens life. And it's important that we calibrate our lens life in this particular time of the season. And now, what did I mean by lens life? And it's important that you realize creativity is rooted in lens. So, because we are a product, most often we're a product of love and hate, aversion, where we look at things from our likes or dislike. They play significant role to shape our lens life, likes and dislike. And have you noticed that? Let's say you want to go into a restaurant and you see the restaurant and it's so decorated, really nice decorated. The advert is top notch. You now created an image in your imagination world and you entered the restaurant. You will see the restaurant from the advert position, which is why we say preposition, position, and performance. Preposition, because the preposition means that you already have an idea, a concept. You have been prejudiced based on advert, based on what was presented in any format. So now you access the restaurant. you are likely going to create an expectation based on the preposition. Now you're seeing the restaurant from the advert, and you might be expecting the food or whatever come from the to conform to that standard. And now seeing this from that preposition has positioned your thirst to that preposition that had been advertised before. And it is that concept that you're going to view the food. And if they bring the food, the way it's served, you won't look at it from the reality of the food. What will color your lens is the preposition. That means the preconcept formed by the advert. And if the food does not measure, align, harmonizes with that preposition, your performance, that means your attitude to eat that food will not be satisfied. So you now see, this is how we play life. Really think about it. We don't see things from the place, from the its reality. We see it from a distorted reality. Distorted reality is that we are coming from a preposition, like a pre-knowledge, or from a concept or a preference that had influenced how we connect to the reality. And we are going to likely judge it from that point. Your life today is a function, is created by your lens of that life. Your life experiences today is a function of experience. And whether this experience is influenced by divinity, or influenced by your value, or influenced by history, or influenced by experience, or influenced by stories. And part of what I want to also delve in today is how stories influences your entire lens. We'll take it one by one. So there are three strategies. I think I talk about this a whole lot. We talked about it the last time. We talked about the state of your mind, the condition of your mind. We talked about the stories in your heart. We talked about the sensitivity in your heart. And we talked about, like what we call the strategy, which is the blueprint. And I'm going to take it from the last one, the blueprint. Blueprint are so powerful, from a particular gentleman who said, I will go to the mountain. I will hear what the divine will inspire into my imagination. And I will conceive it. I will now write it down. I will put it down so that I can run. And everybody around me will run with it. We're going to be talking initially, before we delve into what we have, will be the blueprint of life. Blueprint. I know in some cases we talked about vision, but I want to narrow down the blueprint. How many of us have blueprint? Blueprints are fundamental to how your life is shaped. And I love the blueprint of our Lord Jesus Christ. I love the way he piloted his affairs. Have you noticed he was always making reference that I am the bread of life. I am the tree of life. I am the living branch. I am the first and the last. I am the resurrection and the life. It meaning that obviously he cannot start a day without reforming, re-strategizing, affirming his blueprint. And this is the missing link in most of our life now. We don't have a blueprint. We're so carried away with what we intend to achieve, what we expect how life should be, all those external expectations and validations. But you see, every talent you see, every gift you see, every goodness that you see, every greatness that you see, every accomplishment you see is a process stemming from a concretized blueprint that has been imagined, created, written. Some people have it on the wall. Some people, like some of us, will write it historically and all that and blueprints. And you cannot live authentically in empirical moment or from divert position. No, authentic means that you have found your real identity, your true self, because your true self will give validity to your lens life. Because you don't see life from the way life is, you should see life from who you are. And this is where we are missing it. So it means that nobody can insult you. It means that nobody can defraud you. You can't, even when people defraud you, you cannot see them from the place of defraud. You see from who you are. And that's why it's important that your identity, we've talked about it so well, that you begin to question yourself, who really am I? Because who you are will give you a blueprint. And if you practice this, begin to stream from your blueprint. And I can break it down as simple as that. Your blueprint can be your core value. Your blueprint can be like a single scripture or a divine instruction. It could be a word from your mom. It could be a word from your dad. It could be a word from somebody that have looked at you into eyes and be able to speak word in your life. Like maybe somebody had over the years saw me one time. He said, "You smell money." As at that time, that person said, "You smell money." Obviously, I had one shoe. I had one shoe that was my service shoe, my work shoe, my functional shoe, everything really. And now that shoe was everything. And you can imagine at that moment, maybe I desire to have like about 10 shoes or 5 shoes, just to give me flexibility or that optional position where I can fit in here. But the shoe was everything to me. And I mean, when I look at that shoe, I didn't know why I didn't take picture. I gave it to a particular gentleman. When I saw this shoe, I mean, he discolored it, But I mean, we're different. I was seeing that shoe differently. He was seeing it differently. And the functionality of that different will and the experience of that shoe, we will experience it differently, because the way I see that shoe, and it's not how it's going to shoe. The way I will treat it is a function of how I see that through. You see how life is so simple, but we don't dip into deeper knowledge and wisdom to influence how we move. So this particular gentle lady has seen me in that raw form and said, "Patrick, you smell money." That's a revelational knowledge. That's what I mean. And now, it didn't make sense, but when I reflected on that particular word, it just got to me, what is she seeing that I'm not seeing? You see how blueprint can change entire space. And from that moment, I recognize myself. I smell money. I smell money. I'm excited about it. As I wake up in my money, I mean, I was in a house where there was no mattress. I was living on the floor. It was just bare floor. I mean, and nobody would know really whether you're sleeping on the floor and all that. Nobody know where you come from, because when you come out from that empty place, you don't carry the empty ideology outside. You carried fullness, completeness around, because I'm saying I'm complete in Christ Jesus. So now I started seeing, I now put it as a blueprint that I smell money. I've written a book, and one of the chapters I talked about smell. It's a powerful revelation. You need to look for that book. I'm not advertising, but it's called Revolver. If you order for it, you will look at the book. It's an amazing book. It's called The Revolver. So I started seeing myself, so it is written. And so I wake up as I smell money. I wasn't afraid. From that moment, I wasn't afraid of money, because I feel that I'm money. And it takes money to make money. Because something goat will beget after itself, right? So money begets money. And from that moment, honestly, that blueprint has shaped my reality. So when people say there's a scarcity, I'm not going to see scarcity. I will consult my blueprint, and my blueprint will help me to renegotiate what people are saying, and I will begin to integrate, and it begin to inspire me, it begin to influence me, it begin to infuse in me such a momentum of hope and optimism, to redefine that situation. I've never seen life from place of scarcity. I've never seen fuel or some of those things from the place how people see it, because my blueprint is, and that's why you see, what happened is that when something that is in adversity hits you, and you see it as adversity without consulting your blueprint, you're not living an authentic life. Because you see, our Lord Jesus Christ made an offer, several offers that was very good and juicy. But because it was functioning from a place of blueprint, each time that offer was made that was contrary, he didn't look at the offer, he looked at the blueprint. He said, it is written. It is written. I'm asking you, what is written in your life? What is your blueprint? What is your blueprint in your life? I'm going to share another experience. I have these affirmations that I do on a daily basis. I look at it and say, I'm a Jesus boy. I walk in divine wisdom. I'm on top only. I come to and say, I'm on top only. That's a blueprint. I fear God. I fear God. I fear God. I could be flying, and as I'm flying, and I use the washroom, because nobody's seeing me there. I'm going to treat the washroom from a place that I'm on top, and there's a reasonable demand of my character to flow from that essence of I'm on top only. Now my behavior, my character trait, my personality conduct must stream from that blueprint, because that's how I see myself. So I said, I'm on top only. I fear God. I have a good heart. I have a good heart. I'm kind-hearted. I'm diligent and hardworking. I manifest greatness. I think about that as a blueprint. So when I'm going to deal with people, irrespective of who they are, they could be the president of an organization, they could be the minister of a country, they could be a star, what we call star, they could be whatever they are. They could also be security men, they could also be whatever it is that they are. I am not going to define myself from the influence of the external disposition. I'm going to be influenced by who I am and the blueprint that should shape my reality. If you practice blueprint and live from the blueprint, I have in my house, when I get into my house, the first thing I say, this is a place of honor. In meaning that whoever that gets into my heart is in an honorable place. Now, irrespective of who that person is a person of honor. Why? The blueprint with which I see them has been established, and it is in that blueprint that forge how I see people. If you have any comments, question, I can take them. I'm flexible today. It's not like a monologue, it's a dialogue. We are co-creating freedom. We are co-creating abundance of life. We are co-creating satisfaction. We are co-creating contentment. We are co-creating a joyful life. We are co-creating such a balanced life. We are co-creating such a meaningful. We are co-creating such a purposeful life. We are co-creating such a powerful life and all that. So I'm begging everybody. You need to change your lens life. You need to change your lens life. You need to change your lens life. It's so powerful that if you don't change your lens life, your total experience of life will not change. I mean, sometimes I'm down, maybe like with sickness. In that sickness, I'm not going to see myself from the reality of that moment. I will not deny it. I will accept it. Acceptance is neutral moment. It is where it will give us the capacity to define how we want to relate, how we want to judge a situation, how we want to respond to the situation. That's what acceptance does. Acceptance is more like saying no, but not rejection. Now, I've had a blueprint handed over to me divinely through a divine instruction. This is during COVID. So I was going to break bread, and in that breaking bread, it was funded by fear. And you see, this is one of the reasons why we live in fear, we pray in fear, we act out of fear. Because you see, we don't have a blueprint with which we see life, or interpret life, or encounter life, or relate with life, or define with life. So in that moment, I heard expressly in my spirit, through divine instruction, and said, Patrick, you can't be diseased. And I asked the question, but what if I have some level of discomfort or even what is called disease? He said, no, when opposite happens, it is your lens to that thing would determine your experience. You see, and what happened is that opposite is to remind you, to redirect you, to relent you, not to focus on the external thing or the opposite, but to focus on your blueprint. And I experienced, like, each time I'm ill, I don't focus on the illness. I focus on my blueprint. I can't be diseased. And it's as simple as when you say here, by his stripes I am healed. Have you noticed that when you're ill, you don't focus on by his stripes you are healed. You're focused on the sickness. And what happens is that the sickness will amplify because the intensity of your focus will determine your experience in life. What formed your experience in life is the intensity of your focus, is your attention. We have always said that the intensity of your attention will create your reality. It's so important, but we do not go. They don't teach some of this in school, even though it's been said scientifically. So each time I'm ill, I'm not going to focus on illness. I'm going to focus on that I can be diseased. That's the blueprint. Now, I have another mantra. I'm bringing some of these as example. It said, I am blessed. I am blessed of the Lord. I am blessed of the Lord. I am blessed of the Lord. I can't wake up on a daily basis without reaffirming. And now this is how I construct my mental state. Remember mental state that create a story, that create a sensation, that now create a strategy to deal with life. That's what we were talking about last time. So your mental state is like has been programmed, has been indoctrinated, has been cultured, has been engineered and forged by a blueprint. So when I encounter scarcity, for instance, maybe there's no payment, I'm not going to look at no payment as my reality. I'm going to put my lens that I am blessed. I'll give instance, and I'm wondering, when people in my divide in my space said, hear something like, I was young, now I'm old, I've never seen the righteous forsaken. Why do we use language that typify that we're forsaken? It's because now we are not looking at the source of life. We are looking at the effect of life. Can I say that again? Most times we are looking at the effect to define our reality rather than let the source be the source of our definition of our reality. And it's quite difficult to reprogram people's life that majority of what defined us is external. Frankly, when you look outside, you are pressured. But when you look inside, you're comforted. When you look outside, you are pessimistic because you see, it's far-fetched. But when you look in, there's abundance. And it's difficult to look abundance because it is not the fruit that should gladden you. It is the hidden fruit, the root. So we don't look at the productive, the carton that the factory has produced. It is a factory that you should look at. And this is the consequence of cause and effect. So people are looking at effect, not looking at the principle of cause. We've talked about so much about sowing and reaping, planting and harvesting. People are focusing on harvesting rather than planting. You can't become a billionaire without the structure of a billionaire. If you are looking at a billionaire from the miracle point of view, like you wake up and somebody will call you and give you 1 billion. I'm sure it happens in 1 over 1 million times. No. That is why some people who eventually win lottery, for some instance, go and ask them, maybe all through their life they have what is a blueprint? People think about goal as blueprint. No, goal is not a blueprint. Goal is just a boundary of operation. You have put boundaries with which you have to focus. They are not blueprint. What are your blueprint? Blueprint are, what are those invincible conviction that create a momentum or a force of creation that create passion? So if I wake up and I know that I can't be poor. It's not a statement of having. No. It is a dimension of a blueprint that has been handed over to me divinely through my value. And it is the story of life that helped me engage life, helped me to see life, helped my perspective. And I've seen this thing play a strong role in shaping my now, and it's also going to shape my future. I don't lose sight of my blueprint. I know who I am. I know my blueprint. Blueprints are so powerful that if you engage them, they shape your reality. I have a blueprint that you're not kind until you're kind to the unkind. And I say, Patrick, what will mark you consistently is when unkindness hits you, you remained kind. And this is where the problem lies. And it's a shallow life where we feel that we are kind to our friends and we expect the same measure. No. Oh, I respect this person, so this person should respect me back. No. They do not have the same lens of your blueprint. No. I have a blueprint. Another person have a blueprint. And that's where I'm going. We're going to be driving what they call the non-motive life. Like, you don't have a motive to do what you need to do, certain things you need to do. You don't have an intention. You don't have a concept. But what is the fundamental driver that drives your lens at any point in time? Blueprint. When I tell people no expectation to life, and they're almost going to tell me, how can I be in a relationship I have no expectation? How can I walk and I don't have expectation? How can I engage life without expectation? But you see how I have a blueprint, other people have a blueprint. Now, if our blueprint do not align, we are going to function from our blueprint because we are seeing life from that place of blueprint. That's what drives us. It is what we see, is what is it that engages us. You see how our lens is so critical. This is what creates our reality. If you don't see from your blueprint, you see from other people's blueprint. It affects in relationship. You know, when people meet, a guy meets a lady. Honestly, they have a blueprint. The ladies have a blueprint. Now, their life in that relationship is governed and directed strongly by those blueprints. So disappointment comes in when the individual lenses funded by their blueprint does not find harmony. We call it the harmony, honor, and happiness. When there's a disharmony, dishonor means that they do not honor each other in that blueprint. What happened? You create unhappiness. Every unhappy state is a function of disalignment to blueprint. Blueprints are so cardinal. It shapes how we experience life. Blueprint is what creates like and dislike. And we live life in this duality. Like, dislike. Like, dislike. Now you like an event because you feel it aligns to your blueprint. Or you hate event because they do not align to your blueprint. And this is what is causing dissatisfaction. So now this is where we are going to be looking at. There are three fundamental method. How do you see? Majority of us see from motive, or we see from interest. We are going to be closing from here. Or we see from intention. And it's important because it will help you when you're dealing with people. You know that you have a motive. You know that you have some interest. You know that you have an intention. These three things will determine how we are going to experience life. That's how we are going to experience life in every dimension, whether at work, whether in the office, whether at home, whether brother to brother, sister to sister, boss to boss, or whatever, employer to employees, customers and clients and all that. These three fundamental agents of lens should be in your heart, and it opens your mind. And once you have this broad ideology about life, when you're dealing with people, you know that fundamentally there are three things that will shape, that will influence their decision, influence their choice, influence their behavior, influence their character and output. So when you meet your client and you offer service, three things will shape how that business grows. Number one is the motive. Motive is strong in shaping our lens of life. And unfortunately, these motives, most of the time, they are never communicated. They are never, unless there's a transparency, there's a trust where you say, what is the motive of doing this thing, of sales? It's never communicated. Some people, it's to make money. Some people, it's honor. Some people, there are several motives. I'm not going to go into that. When you want to see life, engage life, first and foremost, ask yourself, what is the motive? Motives are so salient that if you don't define them, outline them, and them aligning to blueprint, you are not balanced. You struggle. And that's why you see blueprint must be able to influence a motive. For instance, I have a motive of dignifying everyone. Dignifying everyone. Now, the root of that is funded by my value system, which is a blueprint, which is respect to human life, to environment, to all, government and everything. You see, so respect means somehow honoring people's position, honoring over there. So now, when I say dignify somebody, it means that I will not be superficial. I will not be sentimental driven. I will not be circumstantial driven. I will not be emotionally driven. What will drive me is the blueprint that is funded by my value system. And now that value system now influences the motive. So when I dignify people by words, by affirmation, whatever it is, have you seen how solid it is? It got nothing to do with the individual. It got nothing to do with the. So I was in an office, and in that office there were other people who were waiting for a particular gentleman who all of us were coming to see. And While we were there, they brought drinks, like water. After I had finished a bottle of my water, I kept it so well because part of my dignity, what will influence my action anywhere I go, is respect to environment, because that's dignified there. Now, what happened? I kept it. So another guy just flinked over there. I respected the fact that that is who he is. And who he is shaping here. I cannot see him from my own lens and judge him from my own lens, because our evolution is different. Our blueprint is different. So you now see, I can say, you know what I did? Naturally, I went to pick that. You see how I have dignified him and I dignified the environment. What shaped it is not the lens of judgment or dislike. It's the lens of respect funded that fuel a blueprint of dignity to humanity and to environment. And I picked it. That guy said, "Oh, that's really nice. Thank you." Now, I didn't force it. I am sure that I've been able to engage his mind without forcing or condemning or judging him. You see how lens of life shape entire experience. Now, what is the interest? Interest must, first and foremost, be funded by your identity, structured in your value system. Your value system become a blueprint that directs your interest. Don't have interest that is superficial. People have interest, and that's why we're disappointed. Now, when your interests encounter opposition, let me read something to buttress this. I saw this, and it makes sense. Please follow me. It's a gentleman, Paul, who in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, from 9, but let me read it from Message, from 7 to 10. It said, because of the extravagance of those revelations, and so I wouldn't get a big head. I was given the gift of handicap to keep me in constant touch with my limitations. Satan's angel did his best to get me down. What he in fact did was push me to my knees. No danger than of walking around high and mighty. At first, this is where I'm going. At first, I didn't think of it as a gift. Have you seen it? I didn't think as a handicap, as a gift. Because I was seeing the handicap as an impediment. But truth be told, the more you see things is how you are going to experience it. You say, at first, I didn't think of it as a gift and begged God to remove it because I was seeing it as obstacles, as a hindrance. So I was asking, please remove this gift. He said 3 times I did that. And then he told me, my grace is enough. It is all that you need. Now look at the interesting said. He said, my strength comes into his own in your weakness. Once I heard that, you see, once I heard that, I don't know what you are hearing today. Once I heard that, that means there was now a new blueprint that changed the dimension, because he was working from a blueprint. And now you see, once I heard that, I was glad to let it happen. Now look at this, what he said. I quit focusing on the handicap and began appreciating the gift. I quit focusing as handicap. Let me pause here. yes, to inspire, to beg you, what is it in your life that seems like a handicap? How did you see 2024 as a handicap? How have you seen your relationship as a handicap? How have you seen your job as a handicap? Have you now seen why Lens Life is so powerful? It's not me. I am begging you, experiment it, explore it. That thing you're seeing as obstacle, start dancing to that obstacle. See it as a gift of elevation. Oh my God. I feel elated now. That house that you think that is small, see it as a blessing. That boss that you see as an oppressor, see it as a teacher. Oh my God. That parental control that you feel that is killing you, see it as a developer. That cashlessness in your life, see it as an empty place to rediscover your potential. Oh my God. Oh, this is wonderful. This is amazing. 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 I know, I feel your pain. I feel your pain now. I feel pain. I feel burdened by people now. I feel that they are going through a whole lot, and I sympathize with you from my heart, because I can feel that people are under the chain and they are seeing this chain as a place of obstacle. But I want you to see it as a gift. I want you to see it as a gift. I want you to see it as a gift. I want you to see it. I feel your pain. I'm not a preacher, but I bring good news to you. Refocus. This guy refocused. He didn't pray again against it. I don't know what you're praying against. Can you see it differently? Can you refocus it? Can you have a blueprint that can change? Can you see it? I feel your pain. Can this pain be a gift to you? The blueprint changed. It now changes the interest, it changes the motive, and changes the intention. These three things are the instrument that is keeping you either in a perpetual pain or suffering. But can we refocus? And that's what had changed my entire life. I've been down. I've been castigated. I've been rejected. I see rejection as a gift of development. I see blackmail as a gift of improvement. I see dishonor as a rediscovery that I don't need external validation, but I am honor. And it's not what you take, what is given to you that matters. It's what you give that you become. Can we change the lens how we see our country? I know that the country seems to like a burden. Negatives can never, a negative approach, response will continue to multiply negativity. What do you see? I see beauty in ashes. I see comfort in displeasure. I see elevation in the down moment. I see freedom in that imprisonment. Thank you. I thank you for joining us. My prayer for you in this season is to bring you joy, contentment, freedom. Don't always see Christmas from the old idea. See differently. Think differently. Believe differently. Engage a different emotion. And act differently. We will co-create a freedom because a new light has come. Enjoy the season. It's a season of pleasantness, of joy, of contentment. Don't see that no rise as suffering. See it as a time of reinvention. See you next season. I love you all as we continue to redefine standard and challenge status quo and invite you into goodness. Thank you.